I love hiring women. You save 25 cents on the dollar. Full-time working women in America earn 82.2% of a man's weekly earnings. Last year, according to a report for the Women's Institute of Policy Research, the gender wage gap was most pronounced in CEOs and financial managers. Female executives earn only 69% of their male counterparts and their male bosses, resulting in $682 less in weekly median earnings. Last month, I conducted research on the gender wage gap to study the cause and factors of the gender wage gap, the impact on society, and also what we can do to create equality. According to the Huffington Post, economists say that in almost two-thirds of families led by single parents or two-parent households, mothers are either the primary or co-breadwinner in a family. In two-parent families, the gender wage gap and the loss of jobs traditionally held by men in today's economy, the reliance on women's income are becoming more and more greater, and the family budget and influence on that is becoming more and more prominent. Lower pay for women not only means that there's less economic security for women, but for the families that depend on them during their years in the workplace and in retirement. Women have been told for years that the gender wage gap would close once they get more education and experience and begin working in a greater variety of fields. While the situation has improved some, it is still not equal. Some of the highest paid, most educated women in the National Association for Female Executive Survey face a larger than normal average wage gap. A female neurosurgeon earned $337,031 versus her male counterpart who earned $487,000. A female civil engineer earned $61,000 opposed to a male civic engineer who earned $78,000 per year. Now, in this slide, you will see that since 1969, we have been on a rise and the gender wage gap has been narrowing and closing, but we're still not equal. We see that it is not only caused by the difference in industry, but in occupation. In the top half, you'll see that most of these are female-dominated positions, such as stock clerks, file orders, bookkeepers, accounting clerks, police officers, elementary teachers, cooks, social workers. You see that the gender wage gap is almost narrowed, and it's really not in a gender wage gap. But towards the bottom, you see that there is more of a disparity among the male prominent fields, such as retail salespersons, managers of any kind, and financial managers, where the disparity shows at 72%. President Obama is committed to achieving equal pay for women. The administration has taken action and steps toward ensuring equal pay for women, and to build on these measures and pay equality. The Paycheck Fairness Act was blocked by the Senate, even though it passed in the House. It was rejected by only 2 votes. What you can do is pass the Paycheck Fairness Act and support President Obama. Closing the gender wage gap will create a huge economic stimulus, according to the economists for the Huffington Post. Women who spend more and are paid fairly will most likely spend that money to support their families, to support themselves. Many women live in poverty, and they need to spend every penny they get on themselves and their paychecks. Women currently make up 70% of Medicaid recipients and 80% of welfare recipients. Closing the gender wage gap would allow them to become less reliant on federal assistance, thus stimulating the economy. The gender wage gap has narrowed, but is still significant, according to InfoPlease. The gender wage gap has improved about a half penny per dollar every year. The Council of Economic Advisors states that the raw gap on the average female per dollar pay has decreased from 40% to 25%. But even though that these are lessening, this suggests that women's skills and job choice are becoming more and more similar to men. This shows that women have made enormous progress in the workforce since the Equal Pay Act, but the basic goal of the act has not been realized. It is important that we support gender pay equality. It not only affects women, but society as a whole. Pressure local senators via email, phone, or petitions to pass the Equal Fair Paycheck Law. So this can not only be your daughters, wives, sisters, mothers, or aunts. This is for everyone. Thank you. No, not enough time, huh?